Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Yes, today I have a brand new setup. I'm currently trying to figure out where I'm gonna film moving forward just because my old place is currently being used for a different filming project. So we are trying the floor today, which isn't too bad of a place, but I digress. Anyway, in today's video, I want to talk about what to do when you have an emergency situation and when you need to manifest in a time crunch, which I know can be really stressful and really difficult because obviously you're in an emergency situation, you're feeling the stress, and I think one of the biggest things is obviously feeling the lack as well. I mean, if you're in an emergency situation, you need something right now, getting into that place of like getting to the other side of it can be a little bit difficult. So we are gonna adjust that today, and yeah, let's just get right into the video. So I've manifested pretty big things in short amount of times. It was pretty stressful sometimes, and sometimes it was easier. But one of the things that really helped me, and there's two ways you can go about this. So if you are someone who can live in the end and really just make believe and pretend and amp up those affirmations and really just listen to them 24/7 and, you know, really retrain your subconscious to the point where you're sick of hearing about it, then you can absolutely do that. I think that's always a really good way to go about it. However, I do see a little bit of an issue with that because when we tend to all of a sudden amp up all of those affirmations and do all this extra work, like there is this tiny voice inside of us that does tell us, hey, you're only doing that because you're in an emergency situation, and you're only doing that because you're doubting the fact that if you aren't doing it enough, you might not be able to get whatever you want literally overnight, if that makes sense. So I do think there's a little bit of a danger when it comes to that. So you just need to weigh the pros and cons of that in terms of, am I able to override that doubt and just not listen to it and have blind faith? Or am I someone who might listen to that tiny voice and just make things harder on me? Because so when you have doubt, and I've said this before, you don't need to believe your affirmations and your manifestation. However, when you are in this doubtful place, it can just be a little bit more difficult to continue on, or you'll have to do more repetitions, you know, depending on how like ingrained your doubt is, in order to get to where you want. So it just kind of depends on how much time you have and how much willpower you have. Like I just know after, I want to say maybe like an hour max, I'm just out. Like I don't want to deal with it anymore. But one of the things that I found really helpful for me was having like a backup plan, and also having an example I could pull from where I manifested something really fast where I was not under time pressure. Now, if you are currently not under time pressure and you don't have an emergency right in this very moment as we speak, now would be a really good time to go and try out those things. And one of the biggest things you have to really convince yourself of and make yourself like really put to the forefront of your mind is, even if you are now using that time to manifest a cup of coffee and you get it within 5 minutes just because you want a cup of coffee or you want $10,000, those are the same thing from a manifestation energetical standpoint. They are the same thing. So don't do that exercise, get yourself some coffee, and then get discouraged when you want $10,000 or need $10,000 for whatever you need it for, and say, well, but that's not the same. It is, and that's really important to keep in mind. But so that's one of the things that I would do if I were in your position, is to try and really think about, what did you manifest that you really got overnight? And also think about things that you didn't consciously manifest, you know? So for example, I manifested my dog, and I did that subconsciously, and I manifested him within like 2 or 3 days. And some people would say getting a dog is a pretty big deal, and especially your perfect dog is a big deal. So I think it took me like 2 to 3 days to get him, like to manifest him. So that's an example I like to use. But again, it doesn't really matter. Just pick whatever you want. If you don't have any like core memory that you can pull from, which I think is almost impossible, because if you come from the standpoint of everything that we have is manifested, you know there will be something in there that you have manifested throughout the course of your life that was pretty big, that you got pretty quickly. And just write that down. Just start brainstorming some ideas, write some down, and just keep them somewhere where you can pull from them if you need. When it comes to a plan B, so I'm not talking about having a plan B in terms of, if your manifestation fails. That's not what I'm talking about. But so there's this one particular situation that I remember where I was manifesting something really big and I didn't know how to get it. And of course, the how is not up to us. But if we're in a stressful situation, sometimes we kind of want to force the how. Like we get stressed out and we want to know the how. We want to figure out the how. Like, where is it coming from? And as much as you are not supposed to interfere with the how, if you are having really, really big doubt and you're having a huge problem with getting stuff in a short amount of time, having a how backup plan can be really helpful. So I had the how backup plan, and knowing that this is there, and even if it's just something that you don't necessarily know whether you can tap into it or whether you can, access it, but something that from a rational standpoint makes sense to you, it alleviates a lot of the stress and the doubt and just the pressure of having to trust basically in the universe that it needs to come up with something within minutes to help you out. So it gives you a little bit of your control back in the process of trying to figure out the how, which then in turn allows you to relax a little bit and just continue your manifestation over here while you know that the how, again, if this manifestation doesn't work out, you can then you can manifest this, then go over here and manifest the how instead. Okay, so I would always focus, if you have the choice between manifesting what you want and manifesting the how, always manifest the manifestation. Don't go after the how unless it's absolutely necessary. But sometimes we are in that situation and sometimes we have to do that. So I remember I was in a really, really bad financial spot. That was like years ago. And I was trying to think of ways to manifest it, and I just couldn't let go of, the stress and the doubt and all that. And then I set myself one particular situation as a backup plan. And when my manifestation on this side did not come to pass, which I realized did not come to pass because I was holding on too tightly to it and I was too stressed out, I then ended up manifesting the how that I set myself up as a backup plan instead, and ended up getting my manifestation. It ended up coming to pass a little bit differently than I intended to, but it came out better than I wanted to. So it was good, but it was a stressful couple days. It was over a weekend, so it wasn't, I wasn't really doing what I should have been doing. But if you're in an emergency situation, fight or flight takes over. You're not in a place to negotiate with your brain and say like, hey, let's calm down for a little bit. Let's breathe. Even if you can do that, that would be the best option. And let's just try and see this from a rational standpoint of, we know we can manifest this. We know it's already ours. We're living in the end. We're doing this over here. And even if, stuff goes bad, we have the backup plan over here. So I really, really hope this helped you guys. I really hope this gave you a little bit of perspective. Like I said, if you can amp up those manifestations, those affirmations, and live in the end, always go that route. It's always helpful to do that, but I understand that sometimes we just can't do that. If we need something overnight, it can be really stressful. But one of the things that may also help you is keep in mind that there is a reality where whatever you want and whatever you need already exists, so that you already exists. And you are literally 1 second or 1 nanosecond, whatever it's called, millisecond, I don't know. I'm so bad at math when it comes to this stuff. Like one tiny sprinkle of, time, which again, we made up time, from acting as if, so pretending you already have it, to reality jumping into that timeline where you are that person that already has it. And you don't know when that moment is. Just because you don't see it in front of your eye doesn't mean that you didn't already timeline jump into that particular reality that you want, because 2 seconds from you watching this video, and you maybe having jumped during watching this video, it could already be yours. So don't stand yourself in the way by making yourself crazy, and going overboard, which is why, and that's the thing, I love rampaging and I love amping up affirmations, but if you do it too much, there is an absolute danger that you're standing yourself in the way. When you get to the point where you feel like, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm tired of it, that might be a good place to really stop and say, okay, I've done all of that, but am I really living out the person that would already have my emergency situation fixed? How would I feel? I mean, I would probably maybe laugh about it or feel relieved, or maybe I would even cry of happiness. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. You know yourself best. You know what to do. So don't stand yourself in the way, because that version of you already exists, and you don't want to be in this particular reality where you are right now, where the situation is not fixed, and harper on that and hyper focus on that and go overboard with all the exercises that you're doing, and you're researching 5 million, different ways to manifest, and you're watching 20 million videos. Like, there's no need for that. It already exists. You do what you need to do right now in this moment to feel comfortable and to feel like you've done everything you needed to do. And then it's time to step into that reality, knowing that you already have what you want, but if something goes awry, you still have plan B no matter what. So I really hope this video helped you guys. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, share, the whole 9 yards. I am also on TikTok, Instagram, the usual. You probably found me maybe potentially from TikTok, which is where I'm most active, but I'm gonna be coming back to YouTube a little bit more now. I'm feeling much, much better after going on that gluten-free diet and going through that detox, which when I did research, I shouldn't have done that. People said, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to feel better, a couple of months, and I was like, nah, sweetheart. A day or two max, and I had 2 days where I was going through absolute hell, but you can see I'm doing much better. I'm feeling much better. I'm really having not the most difficult time sticking to the diet. When I did it so, I was just struggling and feeling sorry for myself, but now I actually enjoy eating gluten-free food, and I feel brand new. So I manifested getting through that detox like that, loving my new food, having, the best time with the diet, and basically making it second nature. And like I said, we're on day 4 now, I believe. So I think we're doing pretty good, pretty all right, and I'm pretty happy. And I also saw something yesterday where I was like, okay, that's like a Mandela effect. I think a timeline jumped. So good times. Pretty happy about that. If you want to, by the way, if you're in the same situation, you want to know about that, leave a comment. I don't know. I didn't really think about making a video about that before. I kind of talked about it a little bit in my podcast, but if you want to know about it, hey, I'll make a video. No problemo. Anywho, thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. I really hope this video helped you guys. If you want to share what you're currently manifesting, leave a comment down below. Leave a comment down below if you have any ideas about, videos, like stuff you want to know. I have a list of topics that I want to cover, but I'm always open to suggestions, and I'd love to hear, any ideas, any stuff you really want me to discuss. Jesus Christ. Okay. I think we're getting to the end now. Oh, also, by the way, tarot readings, coaching spots still closed right now because I am currently manifesting something else for myself, and I need to focus on that. So if you want my help, I'm always here. I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to make TikTok videos. They will open again once I get to where I want to be, but for right now, I gotta, for the next couple days, I got laser focus on one thing and one thing only. So I need those few more days to get that out of the way, and once we get there, spots will definitely be opening again. They're limited as usual, so make sure you put yourself on the waiting list on the website, which will also be linked down below, because I will be sending out an email to those people first, and then I will announce it on social media. So if you want to be the first to know, make sure that you are signed up for the newsletter, and I hope you guys have the most beautiful rest of the day. Bye guys.